It's Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We're coming to you from the San Fernando Valley, but we're joined today by someone from Ventura County. His name is Ron Merckling. He is with the Casitas Municipal Water District, which covers what?
It's Western Ventura County. We serve the cities of Ojai and the city of Ventura.
Sure.
That's kind of the largest, and then the unincorporated areas in between.
And what do you provide? I understand that you're unique in terms of NWDs.
Yeah, so we're a wholesale agency. Like I said, there's other agencies we're serving, but we also have direct customers that we're serving, and then we have ag customers, which represents almost 50% of our demand.
Okay, I want to talk about the last several years. Let's go back to 2011, 12, 13, even 14. How was the water situation in Western Ventura County? We were in drought, but give us a sense.
So in the beginning, 2011, 12, we're about 70–80% in the lake. The groundwater.
So we're talking about Lake Casitas.
Yes, Lake Casitas.
Which is a significant dam, kind of a mid-sized dam in
Yes.
our great state. And so you were about 70%, which is not terrible, not great.
Right. And the groundwater levels in the area, we're also in a pretty good state. So as we moved along in the drought, it became a little bit more stressed, and though we were always above 50% until about a couple of years ago.
Right. So let's talk about this past water year. We'll call it the water year 2015-16. If we were talking 1 year ago today, I think we were really excited because we could feel the El Nino in the air. It was coming. We were going to get torrential rains and we couldn't wait. And poor Northern California, they were going to get nothing and we were going to get it all. What happened?
The Godzilla.
Yeah, the Godzilla,
El Nino,
exactly.
Turned out to be a little lizard.
Yeah, well, but
El
it
Nino.
was a Godzilla in Northern California and it was a lizard in Southern California. What happened?
There, we had a community meeting of several hundred people last fall that were all gathered to talk about flooding.
Right.
And so the focus in our community is completely changed.
Right.
But
let's explain what happened, because it's interesting for nerds like myself. Because of some ridge, there was an El Nino, but it went farther north. The north got all the water, and we got nothing. All but nothing.
Yeah, virtually for us it was nothing. For the last 5 consecutive years, we've had very little diversions into Lake Casitas. We divert off of the Ventura River to fill up, and also the local watershed, and it's been pretty much nil, and that was continued.
And that was continued. Okay, so Lake Casitas now, what level is it at?
36.5%.
How dire is that, sir?
So the last time we've seen that was 67.
Ooh.
So it's been quite a few years.
It's the lowest it's ever been.
Yes, well, the lowest it's been since it started filling up for the first time in late 1959.
So let's look forward. So we're just entering a new water year, the 16-17 water year. It's hard to know what we're going to face. We've heard rumors of a La Nina, which would suggest a dry winter, but now there's evidence that maybe we won't have a La Nina.
Yes, it looks like it's moving more toward a neutral condition,
Okay.
which makes it very unpredictable. I mean, we still have the capacity to get large storm events, which is how California weather works. We either get the dry conditions or we get these very big storms. So atmospheric rivers. And we're hoping for one of those. We just need one really big atmospheric river. What's unique about our reservoir, the Lake Casitas Reservoir, is that it requires a significant storm event of like 10 inches or more or like a several day event before we can start diverting. And what's nice about the Ventura River, which we divert off of, it's like a flash flood river. We need that flash flood to happen.
And what's also disappointing about the lack of water is, as I understand it, often Lake Casitas will be used to recharge the groundwater. Is that accurate? Or the Ventura River is used to recharge the groundwater? I mean, what do you do for recharge?
So there is an element of the Lake Casitas water recharging the groundwater. Like I said, 50% of our water goes to ag customers. So if they're using that water, some of that is going back into the aquifer.
Sure.
But the The nice thing is that when we do get storms in the western Ventura County area, at least in the upper Ojai Valley area, it does recharge the groundwater quickly. But we're actually seeing groundwater levels that haven't been seen since the 1950s.
Very low.
Very low.
And with your friends in the Central Valley, for example, they're experiencing a phenomenon called subsidence, where the groundwater is so low that the ground is collapsing on itself and it can't puff back up. This is serious.
Yes. And for us, we don't have an issue with subsidence. In fact, our groundwater is more like an underground river. It's not like an underground lake.
Do you have an issue with potential seawater intrusion? Because that's an issue with some folks on the coast. You're not quite exactly on the coast, but close.
Not with the western Ventura County. That's more like in the eastern portions of the county, in the Oxnard area.
I want to talk about conservation. We know that Governor Brown had imposed mandatory conservation for residential users, let's say commercial users, and each jurisdiction was given a different category of target based upon 2013 levels. Ventura, for example, had a target of 12%, which wasn't bad compared to others who were at a 36% target. Those targets have now been removed, or have they? Because I guess MWDs can decide to keep targets in place.
Yes.
Conservation targets.
So, in fact, the city of Ventura, it had a 16% reduction requirement, but they've decided to keep that.
That's 16, not 12. Okay.
But they decided to keep that.
I see.
Now, Casitas, as a water district, had 32% requirement.
So you know from what you speak.
Right, and so we've actually had a 35% reduction in our urban usage, but what you've been seeing reported to the state, I know that's when the report that's going to come out on October 5th, 2016, it shows that we only had a 6% reduction, but that includes our ag. So it's not really representative of the urban reduction.
So let's talk about ag, because it's very easy to beat up on ag. And, you know, ag uses a lot of water. They use 50% of the water that we don't release into the environment. How do we create a scenario where we don't pit each other against each other when it comes to water use?
It's a really good question. And the reason that the Ventura River Project was created was to create a backup source during drought conditions, because the groundwater wasn't sufficient. And that means for both ag and the urban customers, all the customers within the service area, including the people within the city of Ventura and Ojai, all contribute on their property taxes to having built the project. So we just need to remind people that it's not just for one customer over the other. However, our highest priority is health and safety. So as the lake goes down and we implement more conservation measures, we will ultimately not prioritize ag as much as we would health and safety.
But how is that going to impact ag, in that I presume in western Ventura County, ag's an important economic driver?
The ag that we have is orchards. So we have a lot of citrus and avocado. It has long-term repercussions if we do start to cut back. And we did cut back 10% this last year, starting July 1st of this 2016. And we will look at cutting back next year if we don't see any recovery that occurs for this winter.
His name is Ron Merckling. He's with the Casitas Metropolitan Water District in western Ventura County. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's Local Edition.